So a few things about me. I like to read, and my bachelor's degree is in German. Growing up, I'd heard from teachers and other sources that I should avoid authors like Albert Camus and Franz Kafka, that these were not mentally healthy books to be reading. And like many people, I came across the story of Franz Kafka and the little girl who lost her doll in the park. There's a really good article on the HuffPost about that situation. I believe it really did happen. And because of the story of Franz Kafka, I was intrigued. Being an abuse survivor myself, hearing how Franz had treated this little girl who lost her doll, taking all the time to write letters to her from her traveling doll, and to eventually give her a new doll, explaining with a note found many years later inside the doll that when you lose something that you love, it comes back to you in a different way, reminded me of the kind of things that an abuse survivor would do. For many of us who don't want to repeat the cycle, this is true. Abuse survivors do for people what we wish others had done for us, and in many cases what others did do for us to help us. I did a little bit more cursory research into Kafka and found out that his father had been the relationship hadn't been good. That he loved his dad, but his dad had been abusive, which is typical of the time. In my studies, they blame the Prussian educational system and Prussian patriarchy for a lot of the reason why Nazism and Hitler were able to take over in Germany. So while I was knitting yesterday, I decided to read one of Kafka's most famous books. My favorite audio service is LibriVox, and I like that some of their stuff is on YouTube. So it's about 2 hours long, and I wasn't sure if I would like it, but the story sucks you right in. As a survivor of abuse, as a witness to the abuse in nursing homes, as a person who's watched LGBTQIA members of my family get abused, as a survivor of Mormonism, Franz Kafka's Metamorphosis speaks to our experience. And I've been through what the protagonist has gone through. I believe every ex-Mormon has. And I think I've had a lot of therapy. One of the best things that my therapist ever helped me to accept was that I would never be able to please my parents, to give up on the childish hope that I would be enough for my parents, that I could ever make them happy. As you listen to the protagonist in the story, he has done everything that is asked of him. He has been loyal and faithful, and the one time things go off, the one time he's not of use and fulfilling the role expected of him by his work and his parents, they don't like the new guy. They want their old guy back. And I think a lot of survivors of Mormonism go through this. I watched my father-in-law go through this when they stuck him in a nursing home. You are not the way we like you. We don't want this new version of you. And so it's killing by degrees. Just absolutely astonished at how much this story speaks to that experience. This reviewer on YouTube does a good job talking about some of those elements. Of course, I wanted to know more, so I went and found the man who published most of Kafka's work. The Metamorphosis was published during Kafka's lifetime. And I asked my husband last night at the dinner table, because all of his sisters died because of Nazi exterminations. I wondered to my husband, do you think his sisters thought about this story? And we think they did, because it was published during his lifetime. Anyhow, I went and found Max Brod, the friend who made sure Kafka's work got published. Here's the interview he gave. It's got English subtitles on YouTube. And I love the way he describes Kafka. A moral man, a truth seeker. If you've heard of the term Kafkaesque, Brod didn't necessarily like the way people interpreted Kafka's writings, how they saw him. I think a lot of truth tellers are viewed as negative or pessimistic. But I found his writings, at least this Metamorphosis, is a sensitive soul, a very sensitive person, a caring person. Even in his own misery of being turned into a bug, he was thinking about the feelings of his family. And you assume when you're a person like that everybody else is like that too, and they're not. And that's why I think ex-Mormons should listen to this story. Whether or not there is a life after this one is unknown. But the tragedy to me of the ending of Metamorphosis is that he did not give up. He let the way he was treated kill him. Life goes on, and the best revenge you could have, or the best outcome you could have, is to choose life and to enjoy life and to go on with life, regardless of how you're treated by those who should treat you the best and don't. I hope that if you read Metamorphosis, you will find insight and comfort, and not let the loneliness and isolation and shock and trauma destroy you. Get up out of that room and go on.